Hello, my name is Rain and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be breaking down my setup as well as my character for the Solo Pathfinder 2nd Edition game that I plan on uploading soon. For those who don't know, solo role-playing is basically I use oracles and other supplements to basically simulate the world. And you could think of an oracle as like a magic 8-ball where you ask questions and it gives you a sort of answer, typically yes or no, with some modifiers in there. I am using the oracle with one of my favorite tabletop role-playing games, Pathfinder 2nd Edition. I will outright say that although I've been playing for a while now, I am still a big noob at it, and I can't even comprehend how people DM this game because it's pretty complicated in a lot of ways, but it's so fun. And yeah, as a little backstory to kind of how I got into Pathfinder 2nd Edition, because it's not normally a setting that I enjoy. I really don't care about this like fantasy genre where it's like knights and dragons. Like I tried Skyrim and Oblivion, like the Elder Scrolls games, and I never really got into them. They're still on my backlog to like actually beat them though, but it's just a setting I'm not very interested in. So I was never drawn to the appeal of D&D, but then I got invited to a Pathfinder Discord group where instead of playing like with your voice and like in a group setting, like chatting wise, you would just type out everything. And so I decided to give it a try because another roleplay partner that I had, where we just did text-based, invited me, and I was like, okay, if it's just gonna be us like writing basically novels to each other, then I'd be down to try it. Let me just say that while I really enjoyed the roleplay and like the game, we didn't really utilize too many of Pathfinder's like systems. Like during combat, there was like no three turn systems. We didn't use reactions or anything like that. So, which I imagine is harder to do in a like text-based format. But we still had a DM, we still did attack rolls and like consider AC and like all that stuff. But it was just a little different. And now that I've played Pathfinder, or specifically Pathfinder 2nd Edition, now I like kind of see what I've been missing out on. And actually a lot of my friends who are big D&D players were highly against me playing Pathfinder. They're like, you're not gonna like it. It's like, they didn't say it was crunchy, but they said it was more difficult than D&D, and they're like, D&D 5e is like the perfect starting point. But I was like, I made my character for Pathfinder, so like I'll give Pathfinder a try. And then it ended up getting released on humblebundle, and it came with a lot of stuff. Like I haven't even read through all the stuff it came with. I think I just read the core rulebook and then the bestiaries. I didn't read through it, but like whenever I needed like an enemy, I would look in there. And then I did a couple of one-shots, but I barely touched the surface besides the stuff that was in the beginner box. And I don't even think I've done all the campaigns in the beginner box still. But yeah, and after I got over the hurdles of learning Pathfinder, I was like, I love this game. It's still not like my top tabletop role-playing game, but I actually really fucking like it. For like this setting, I was like, this is great, this is worth it. I'm actually might be playing in a D&D one-shot relatively soon, so I might see if I actually like D&D as well, we'll see. But I hear it's like a little more easier or easygoing than Pathfinder, so I'll have to see. But yeah, anyways, with all of that said, let's get into basically my setup on how I'm going to be playing my solo Pathfinder game. I will admit that I've already did one, I guess you can call it chapter, because I do like novel style, like I write everything, or I type everything down with like the actions and stuff. And so yeah, I'll go over that as well. So you'll see a little bit of a spoiler in that aspect, but like, not too much really happens, so it's okay. And yeah, so as a breakdown on this first page, you can see this is what I call my DM section. I kind of have one for every game I do. And this kind of like at the top, you're gonna see what oracle I decide to use, because I have multiple oracles. For this one, I'm using the Solo Adventurers Toolbox. The reason why I picked this one is because it's the most like D&D focused one, so it like really fits within the Pathfinder world, because I think like the Pathfinder game and world are based off of some edition of D&D. I'm not sure which one. And yeah, honestly, I feel like the Solo Adventurers Toolbox, this will sound weird, but I feel like it works for any game. I've used it for Vampire the Masquerade. I didn't have any issues. Like, you just have to convert some words or terminology. And for me personally, I treat everything as like inspiration rather than a direct interpretation, if that makes sense. But yeah, under that we have enemy stats, which is, I found this website, and it's basically kind of like a Wikipedia, or like a, I don't know how to explain it, but like, it's a website that has like a bunch of stats for NPCs specifically, because I do not know how to create NPCs in terms of like what their stats are. Honestly, I don't even know how to do it for like Vampire the Masquerade or really any game I play. I'm really bad at like converting the stats in a reasonable way. So this website actually helps out, because it has like the levels. If there's like a specific, like an actual NPC in the game, like they have a name and like personality, it lists all that stuff out. And it gives them like skills and traits. So I just kind of like convert those over to whatever I interpret my NPC to be, which I needed that for chapter 1. For an NPC I ran into, and I was like, I don't know how to make their stats. So it worked in my favor, and I'm very happy about that. And then under that we have threads. I currently don't have any threads for my character, but I already have a feeling that's going to change by next chapter. But yeah. Okay, and then the next section I have is NPCs and location. So I did organize these by chapters, and I also add numbers on the side. I didn't really label those numbers, but those are numbers like if I ever need to roll a dice to be like, this event involves this NPC, but I still want to make it random, then I can know which number corresponds to, you know, which character when I roll a dice. But yeah, so for this I have the character names, I have what chapters that they were in, so this can get a little hectic, but I'm trying to minimize my note taking, but also having the most important information available, which is really hard for me because I like to document everything. So this is a new thing I'm trying, where I'm trying to not jot down everything, not every little thing about this NPC. I feel like that also kind of sucks, because I feel like I don't get the growth, so hopefully I can figure out my way around that. And I'm trying to do that with the chapter numbers, because I'm like, oh, if I know they appeared in chapter 2, then I can quickly go back to chapter 2 and be like, okay, where were they, what happened in the scene, things like that. But I also include a little bio. So the bio is pretty short. It only includes their gender, their race, their alignment, which I use alignment very loosely, to be honest, their occupation or their class, depending on if they're an adventurer or not, their status, which is more focused towards like how much income they have, and then, if I remember to, because apparently I forgot, their current like status with the main character. So obviously everything but the final thing, the status with the main character, can be rolled from the Solo Adventurers Toolbox, which is what I did. Okay, and next up we have location, which location functions the same way. I have the name of the location, the chapter that it appears in, and then a small bio, which is like a small description. So I'm like, small cottage on the beach, you know. I'm thinking about putting like any big events that happen there, because I really want the community or like the world to evolve. And so I'm still trying to figure out how I want to do note taking. If perhaps anyone who watches this has DM'd any TTRPG before, it doesn't matter if it's Pathfinder, I would love to know how you take notes. I've watched like various YouTube videos, and I'm trying different things. This is like my first attempt at a very simplified version. Normally I have notes for days, which can be very hectic for like trying to get information quickly. So I'm still trying to figure that out. I'll see how I do it. I'm actually planning on running my first one shot soon for a horror-based game. So hopefully I figure out what to do before then, because that's gonna be a mess. But I can tell you my actual like story that I've developed is pretty fleshed out. So at least I can say that. Okay, and in the next section I have, basically this is just like a chapter synopsis. So for every chapter I just go through like, it's literally like caveman talk, where it's like this happens, then this happens, this happens, this happens. It's not descriptive, it's just like a quick breakdown. So if I have to figure out what happened in 10 chapters back, I can just like read the breakdown and it's like, okay, I know what happens. I don't need all the little details yet, you know? And then if I can't remember, or if I do need those finer details, then I can go back to that chapter, obviously. So yeah, from here we'll actually go to my character. So as you can see here, her name is Lenna. She is an aquatic half-elf, which I believe is also called a shoreborn. Her nickname is Tuna, and I will admit that I did modify some things from her story from my Discord Pathfinder game, just because I didn't want to relive essentially what the DM of that game did with my character. And I want this to be basically like an alternate universe, like her own timeline type of thing. So a lot of stuff was removed in terms of everything that happens past the point of where I reach in my character's history, like on this page. But that stuff didn't really impact, like I'm not missing out on anything from not including that, if that makes sense. It's very hard to explain without saying outright what it is, but it just introduced an NPC into her life, and that was really it. So it didn't really and the NPC does play a huge part, but like I said, I wanted kind of like a fresh start with my character this time. So normally I go like all out with my character's history and stuff. This time I left it a little bit more like smaller, because she's relatively young. I believe I put 22 on her character sheet, and she spent most of her time in like 2 areas, and the basic gist of what her entire life was on there. So until the start of my of the game, she hasn't had many life experiences, so there wasn't too much that I felt like I needed to add. So with that said, this is her history. She doesn't remember much of her past, like when she was younger, but she does recall like the deep depths of the ocean, like being surrounded by the water, being in the water. But her first like real memory that she can like recall what was happening, how she ended up there, like what's going on, was her on the beach with her mother, Dalalea. While Lenna is a aquatic half-elf, her mother Dalalea is actually just an elf, just like a full-blooded elf. So it's kind of implied that her father is, or Lenna's father is a aquatic elf. That might change, who knows? I've been running through some ideas in my head that may or may not show up. You'll also see those down below. But yeah, her and her mother live in a small cottage on like the beach, and it's about an hour away from a huge city known as Capricorn. The eel family often visits Capricorn, where they sell like their merchandise. In this case, Lenna will go into the ocean and catch fish for her family, to provide for her family, and they'll sell the fish. On occasion, she'll go on the shore, collect shells, and make her own jewelry to sell as well. And then if she has time, she'll often perform. She is a bard, and her mother gifted her a harp, which she'll play in the town center, and she gets quite a bit of audience like while performing. But it's kind of evident that they're more there to like gawk at her rather than to admire her playing. But Lenna would probably prefer that over being mocked and teased and harassed, which often happens to her when she's in Capricorn. I don't actually know the like full in-depth lore of like elves in the Pathfinder universe. But I know in other like games, elves are like kind of mistreated. I believe they were in like Dragon's Age and stuff. Like they weren't treated exactly the best. So that's where I kind of got my inspiration from. And my DM never corrected me, so I don't know if that's right or wrong, or You know, maybe Capricorn is just like a full like one race like human place, so they're just like ill elves, or especially like aquatic half elves, I imagine, are like a little bit more unique, and she looks very different. If I can remember, which hopefully I do, but I probably won't, you will see images on screen of Lenna, including some artwork I did of her during the Discord Pathfinder game, and her updated look for this solo adventure. I should have the concept art done by then, and then, you know, you can see it a little bit. My color picking is horrible though, just put that out there. But I really love Lenna's design, and yeah. But yeah, back to her history before I ramble too much. Yeah, the people in town often pick on her, bully her, and that's actually how she got her nickname of Tuna. Because she is an aquatic half elf, they would make fun of her because of that. As a way to kind of own this, she just went and adopted the nickname. She was like, I'll take it then. You know, if you're gonna act like this, just call me Tuna. I want everyone to call me Tuna. And that's essentially what she did. For her personality, she is outgoing, positive, kind, creatively inclined. She also loves attention. She's a big attention seeker now. She will do whatever she can to be the center of your world, whether it's in a positive light or a negative light. I kind of put down there that like this might have happened because Dalalea kind of showered her with a lot of attention because, you know, they lived in like this kind of shabby small shack. Like I said, it's like a cottage, but really it's like a shack. It probably smells like fish. They don't own a lot of stuff. Lenna doesn't, like, if you've seen the concept art, if it showed up by now, in the main, like in the top left concept art, she's not even, like, she doesn't own shoes. You know, they don't have a lot. She doesn't have a dad, like, so maybe Dalalea like overcompensated, and now Lenna craves this. And then seeing when she goes to Capricorn how other people treat her, she's like, this sucks, but at least I'm being acknowledged in some way. So yeah, this also might feed into her last personality trait. I guess like a little bit of warning, or like I guess like a trigger warning, if you don't like yandere characters from like animes or characters who are a bit obsessive. This game, not that Pathfinder 2E doesn't have any of this by default. This is my edition, but if you don't like those type of characters, I would not recommend watching my playthrough, because that is a trope that I based my character off of. Funnily enough, I don't really watch anime, and but I do play anime video games, so you know. But as for watching anime, don't really watch it. And actually, yandere is a trope that I never really got attached to. I just never had an interest in it, and I thought it got old after a while. And I think because when it became big for so long that I was just like, eh. Like, I was more of a tsundere gal, but back when I did watch anime. But now I just like, you know what? I kind of want to try a yandere character, and I at the time hadn't planned on staying in that Discord group for very long. And so I was like, I'll just give it a try. I'll get to see if I do like yandere characters or if I really hate them. I will admit that Lenna is not like yandere in the sense... Technically, she's not a yandere. I'm gonna put that out there. Like, she won't like destroy someone's life if they're not with her. She's just obsessive. You know, I'm just gonna make that very clear distinction, because I keep saying yandere because that was the trope I had in mind, but I didn't go that far because I don't like to make other people uncomfortable. And I will say that her obsessive behavior is towards an NPC that I didn't plan my DM to use. Like, I didn't know that they were going to use that NPC. They ended up using that NPC. I'm just putting that out there. And I was just like, oh wow, like, because I didn't know that DMs did that. I didn't know they would take other characters and just like use them. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like, it actually feels like a living, breathing world, you know? And so, yeah. So I would never put like a player character in that uncomfortable position unless I discussed it with them first. But this is a solo game, so I have a little bit more liberty. And like I said, at the time, I wanted to give that yandere obsessive trope a try. And again, it wasn't like full yandere. She didn't go around killing people, you know? And like, I will say that she was trying to be a homewrecker, though. I will put that out there in the Discord game. She did try to be kind of a homewrecker, in a way. But also the NPC that she liked was kind of leading her on. I'm pretty positive he was evil though. So like my DM at that time went like crazy with developing like all these backstories. It was pretty fun, and I kind of wish I asked him like, what was your plan for everything? Like I want to know, because like I'm pretty sure he wasn't making it up on the fly. But anyways, yeah, fun times. But going back, yes, so Lenna is obsessive. She can get obsessive over both people and like objects or like hobbies. But most of the time she gets obsessed towards males. Let me rephrase that. Most of the times she gets she grows affectionate towards males who have shown her kindness. If they continue to do so, it can grow to obsession. So you typically won't start right away. If you're just like, oh, hey, like it's raining, here's like a jacket. She'll just be like, oh, that's like so sweet. And like she'll want to like be close to them and learn more about them. But if they continue to be nice to her, then she'll be like, okay, like I kind of want to know where you live. Like, what do you like? Like, do we have, like, even if we don't have the same hobbies, like I will like your hobbies. Like she's like that level. And so yeah, so that's the obsessive part of her personality. To the next thing, we have quirks. For me, I treat quirks the same as I treat trivia in terms of like putting it in the section. And so yeah, for her, she plays the harp that she received by her mother. I did roll on the dice asking the oracle if Lenna, like, does Lenna play well? I gotta know. So she does not play particularly well. She enjoys collecting seashells and making jewelry out of them, which she sells. And then she spends a lot of her time swimming in the ocean. She does also, I didn't put it on here because it's kind of implied, but sometimes she will go swimming to catch fish, and sometimes she'll just fish. Like she'll get a little rod and like start fishing. So yeah, either one of those works for her. She also loves sushi, just putting that out there. And then finally, we have motivations and headcanons. I wanted to play with the idea of her past in the ocean. Like, does this like link with her father in any way? Maybe she's like an aquatic like elf princess, you know, maybe her dad's a king. Like those are just ideas to play with. They may or may not happen, but who knows. And then my second one is I have a motivation for her, and really she just wants to be happy with her mother. Like she just wants to live in this small shack because she doesn't know much else. Like that's all she's really known. And yeah, she's seen the houses in Capricorn, but like that's not her home to her. The beach is her home. So she just wants to basically cultivate that. She wants to live in the shack. She wants to go fishing. She wants to have her mother on her side, and like she wants to keep selling her fish in Capricorn and like hopefully make a lot of money from that. And like that just makes her happy, you know, because that's all she knows. I do make these with the intention of them changing and shifting in the future. So her motivation right now and her want to be happy on the beach might change in like the second chapter or the third chapter, you know. And I don't add these as like for my first one, for my headcanon, I don't add that as a thread or even the motivation, because these are something like that isn't solidified yet, you know. She knows that she wants to like stay at home, live on the beach, but she hasn't explored the rest of the world, you know. I try to leave threads for things that are like immediate things that need to happen, if that makes sense. Just putting things into perspective. But yeah, and from here I can go to Lenna's character sheet. This is an amazing character sheet. It will be linked down in the description. This was made by, I cannot pronounce their name, but I'm gonna try, Eru and Dojin. They're a Reddit user, and this is a fillable sheet where it kind of autofills some things for you. So like if I were to increase their level to level 2, it'll automatically put the points in for level 2 for me. And of course you still have to fill things in yourself depending on your race and your class and stuff. It makes so much, it's just great for if you're trying to learn Pathfinder and filling out this character sheet. So yeah, I guess I'll just go through the character sheet. Her class is Bard. Her background is Entertainer, which I figured would work well with her, you know, musical talents. I was choosing between that and I think it was like Merchant or Fisherman, but I decided for Entertainer instead because she's a Bard. And then, you know, the ability score, she has +2 in her dex modifier, -1 in constitution, +2 in intelligence, and then +2 in charisma. She got 0 for wisdom and 0 for strength, so I'm gonna put that out there. Her AC is 15, and I believe that's including her leather armor, because I believe she's wearing leather armor. And her saving throws are 2, 5, 5 for fortitude, reflex, and will. Her perception is 5, and she gets low light vision because she is an elf. And I know I'm gonna forget to use that low light vision because I always do. And her hit points, her total is 13, her current is 0. Plot related, chapter 1 did not go well. And for me personally, because I don't know how other people do this, whenever they use a skill that has like a countdown before you can utilize it again, I typically put it into resistances and immunities, and then I put like a little, like the time it takes, and then I'll literally count down and I will change the time. So like for every minute that passes, it'll like go down, because otherwise I will forget. I do the same thing for conditions. So as you can see, she has filth fever stage 1 for 1 hour. That's personally how I do it. I actually don't know how other people do it. I'd be interested in knowing. But yeah, so her class DC is 10. It's 10 because I don't know what the fuck class DC is, and I never see it used for anything. So I think I just put 10 in there because she doesn't have a proficiency in it. But anyone who plays Pathfinder 2e can tell me, I would greatly appreciate it. Her speed is 0. She uses a short sword and a short bow for her attacks. And yeah. Oh, as you can see here, and you'll kind of see as you continue down, I put page numbers for everything. I still flip through the core rulebook like it's a Bible. Like, and I can't remember anything to save my life. So like, especially for this one, for weapon proficiencies, and then I'm trained, or Lenna is trained in that. I guess elves are trained in literally like 90% of the weapon types. Not that much, but it feels like that much. And I couldn't type it in that little box, so I just put page 95. So, and it works. Her languages are Common and Elven, and then you can see her skills. I won't read through all of them, but her highest skills are Acrobatics, which is at 5. I'll just read all the level 5 ones. Acrobatics, Crafting, Theater Lore, Occultism, which I don't know why I gave her Occultism, but here we are. Performance, Stealth, and Thievery. I will also put out that her Perception is 5, and she's an expert in that, I just want to say. So yeah. I wish I would just skip past this section, because this section confuses the fuck out of me. So we have ancestry feats and abilities. We have low light vision, aquatic, half elf, and otherworldly magic. For skill feats, we have fascinating performance. Sometimes I'll put like little notes. So for this one, I put will DC to observer to remind me, like if I'm doing a will DC, like I need to look this up. Obviously, it doesn't list everything you need to do because I gotta go to the page number. And then class feats and abilities, we have Maestro or Maestro. I think it's Maestro. And then lingering composition. I never know what to put for feature first. I think Bard doesn't have a feature first feature, or I got confused and I didn't know what to put there because every class that has like multiple abilities, I never know which one to put where, except for obviously the feat one. Like that one I know, but like all the other ones I get confused. I'm just putting that out there. So if I fucked up, oh well. Other than that, we have their items. I also get confused by worn items, readied items, and other items. So I tend to put worn items as stuff that they can easily grab or they're going to commonly use. And then readied items are items that like aren't like deep in their bag. Like they can like pull it out after a turn or whatever. And then other items are items that are like deep in their bag, like they're gonna have to shuffle through it if they want it, so don't put important stuff in there. They have leather, short sword, short bow, 20 arrows total, and then musical instrument, handheld, which is their harp. And that's all for worn items. For readied items, we have 2 torches, and then other items, we have the water skin, rations, and soap. I know you can buy like the adventurers kit, I think that's what it's called. I prefer just to buy each item individually because I feel like adventurers kit is kind of like cheating a little bit. Also, potions in this game are so expensive. I'm just putting that out there. I'm just letting y'all know. So yeah, her bulk total is currently 3, which I believe that autofills, which is so fucking cool. Depending on like what you put for your bulk. And yeah, so her copper pieces, she got 1. Silver pieces is 6, gold pieces is 7, and she gets, no, I think that's platinum pieces because she ain't that rich. So I'm trying to save up to get some potions. Potions are so expensive. At least I think, from what I understood, because I always get confused because it's like the amount they show in the book is supposed to be like how much you're spending on materials if you're crafting, I believe. But like, then how much is just to buy the potion? So I just assume that the amount taken to buy the materials to craft it is the same amount that it costs to purchase it. So I don't know. I'm probably wrong and I'm missing something, but that was my understanding of it. If I am wrong, please tell me because that would be super helpful. Also, if you know how to play an alchemist, please tell me because I am trying to play one in another solo game and my alchemist can't craft shit because I don't know how crafting works and I just can't comprehend it. So they can't make bombs, so they just kind of hit stuff with their rapier. So just putting that out there. Anyways, so yeah, we have the rest of the character sheet, which is like personality, their ethnicity, etc, etc. As you can see for age, they are 22, and then height and weight, I just put 5 feet, I don't know, and then weight 130 because I don't know, I don't pay attention to all that stuff. I meant to put my character's like little character sketch here, but I don't know how to put it in there if I'm being honest, because that part doesn't really work that well. Watch me click it and then it freaking works. Okay, yeah, it didn't work. So yeah, one day hopefully I can figure that out because I think that would be so cute, but you're going to hopefully see my character on the screen anyway. So for free actions and reactions, I finally got to using this part of the page because I keep forgetting this is down here, and when I started playing a magic user I understood that I'm supposed to be using this part. Let me just say that when I first was learning Pathfinder 2nd edition, I did not utilize reactions, I did not utilize free actions, and I did not utilize abilities like shield or intimidation. So my battles were so hard. I was literally that dumb bitch that was like, I feel like whoever gets initiative is gonna be the one who wins the battle because I don't know what the F I'm doing. Like I'd be like, we're just like hitting back and forth. So it felt like whoever had the like better perception and the better roll to get better initiative would be the one who won in the end. Because I didn't take into account any of this extra stuff, not to mention debuffing like intimidation or demoralizing or fainting, or fucking the penalty you get if you attack multiple times in a row. I completely missed that in my first reading. So like, it was a mess. It was a disaster, but it was a fun learning experience. So let me just say, actual plays has saved my life. I watched the one on, I believe it was uploaded by Geek and Sundry, where they did like Pathfinder. Oh, I wish I remember what it was called. If I can, I'll link it down in the description. But it like, I wouldn't say they necessarily walked you through how to play, but they did like, while they were playing with people who'd never played Pathfinder 2nd edition before. So they would be like, oh, you gotta do this. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. So I had like so many realizations. Anyways, rambling. I'm sorry about that. So yeah, down here we have the free actions and reactions. Watch me be missing something, but this is what I have. And we have counter performance, which is a reaction, and we have lingering composition, which is a free action. Yeah, reaction and the free action. Oof, so many words. And then what I like about this one, and this is like the default Pathfinder 2nd edition character sheets, but you can put page numbers. Thank you. I'm still getting used to utilizing like the semantic and the verbal, and then I forgot what the other one was. Whatever the M one is, I forgot. But I always forget to utilize those. That's something I need to like in the habit of. But yeah, and then we go to spells. So for spell attack roll, she got 5. Spell DC 15. And then she is trained in occult. That's why I put occultism. I remember now. But yeah, and then spontaneous, which I'm still don't fully grasp, but the prepared and spontaneous, I believe prepared is like every day you have to prepare a certain amount of spells, and then spontaneous is you can use any spells, like you don't have to prep them beforehand. I'm not quite sure if that's right though. I think it's like spontaneous, you can only use spells that you've learned, but you don't have to prep them, whereas prepared means you know a lot more spells, but you can only use the spells that you prep that day. Let me know if I'm wrong about that, because I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. But either way, their cantrip level is 1. I never know what that means either, because I feel like the cantrip, like the amount of cantrips you take doesn't change. Could be wrong about that too. And then she's by this point, she normally has 2 spell slots, but she's used 1 already. And she used it on Soothe 1, just a spoiler alert. But yeah, I have Soothe 1 for my spells, and then Fear 1 for my spells, which I can't use, so use Fear 1. And then for cantrips, we have Inspire Courage, Mage Hand, Shield, which I use a shit out of that, and then Forbidding Ward, and then Daze. And then we have Focus spells, which this is probably the only game, no, I want to say my last, or my current one-shot game that's not this game. Is the first time I use focus spells. And I want to say I've done multiple Pathfinder games because I'm slowly learning. There's just so much to this game, which is good. I love that. So for Lenna, we have counter performance and lingering composition, which I really like. And they did a little, I forgot what it's called, where you can regenerate, or where you can generate a focus point. So they did that little one. So that is my character who I really love so far. I guess I can also go through really quickly kind of how you can expect an episode to go, because this is not going to be an actual play. I've already played the game beforehand and I'm just going over my roles at this point. I have documented any supplements that I used in terms of the solo adventures toolbox or any other resources, and along with any impressive roles. I don't want to document every role I make as my character in terms of like the Pathfinder roles, because like I said, I will misinterpret a lot of things. And here it would be, if it's on the right side, it's basically what I rolled, or any important information that isn't going to be like, I guess, like the direct notes. So you have like my setting, my location, the keywords that I used to generate, which I used the Solo Adventures toolbox, and then I also use the Solo Adventures toolbox to generate an NPC. So these are the roles I get, and I'll kind of break down my interpretation of the roles, how I got to where I got, and then you can see the story kind of unfold like that. And so yeah, that's really it. That's all I have. Again, hopefully I'll finish all the concept art for her so you can get a better idea of what she looks like, and hopefully I can record the chapter 1 soon and keep playing, because I'm actually having a lot of fun with this story. And yeah, besides that, that's really all I have for this one, and I hope everyone is having a safe and cool day with summer being so hot. So stay safe everyone, and have a good night. Bye bye.